Okay, here's an update on Colby, 14-year-old Warmblood, and he's started TAC um, August 2021, so just this year. And the owner is very actively involved with the trimming of this horse, and we're already seeing some nice changes because of her work. So this was the very first day I saw him, and you can just see how folded this capsule is, and how much pressure and pain would that cause in the internal foot. I mean, I don't have a measure of that. We do know he was unsound, so maybe that's an indication of that. But this capsule is clearly folded. You can see this line here, and you can see this line here, and that's the capsule, and you're trying to fit a uh, foot in there. Well, the foot actually is there, and it just folds because it's got no other choice but to. And this is trimming caused. This is typically not a natural thing you see. The collateral cartilage is folded underneath here. This is not normal. This should be out once it relaxes out here. Um, but that will come. So just within one trimming, you can see where it's relaxed, just bouncing the foot up. But the big thing is by October 30th, and again with the trimmer, with the owner involved with the trimming, uh, some of this bull nosing, which that was going on here, that folding is relaxing. That's not 100%. There's still a little bit that's there. But what you really see is how he's relaxed. Like you actually see, if you were to take a measurement from here to here, versus here to here. Now, these pictures aren't, I mean, we can't actually take a measurement, but you can see that there's definitely, he's got more, his capsule's opened up, it's relaxed. So this is really good. Good signs. Now, yes, as collateral cartilages are still pulled underneath, um, that'll come. You have to first get a healthier capsule growing. He's still got, some of the leftover folding here. You can see his growth rings, the the um, connections between the tubules, growth rings. You can still see that they're really pulled under. But then, because you've relaxed this capsule, right, and you're opening up this capsule, that back here is going to start growing tubules that are in a better position. So I included a picture here. This next one's fairly graphic. Well, no, it's from Linda Harris's work, but it really gives you a idea of what's going on. So you could see in that horse how he was folded, and this is what I mean about folding. And it's great. We can really visualize it. Visualize this when we think about the hoof binding that was done to people. Um, for that, to have small feet was a desirable characteristic. And so they would fold, they would put pressure, um, you know, they'd have to wear certain types of shoes that would actually stop the foot from growing the way it should, expanding out, and it literally would fold. So this is a similar idea that Linda put together, which is pretty spectacular. So this horse would be close to being in this type of situation in that very first picture. And our goal is clearly is to open up and then have that coronary band uh, not being folded underneath. Okay, and this is going to change things all underneath. It could have them looking like they are, they've got lots of concavity. You can see lots of different responses to this distortion. So just going back to this picture, so you can look at with the left front medial look, and then when we switch to the lateral side, we see a similar situation. All these horses were kind of trimmed the same. So this guy, Colby, just didn't do as well on it as some of the other horses at the barn, which is interesting. All horses respond differently. Some can handle having the heels trimmed out or leaving the pillars, the toe quarters long, etc., etc., and others can't. So here's before, after. And then what we're really starting to see some changes by October 30th. It doesn't even look like the same capsule. Sometimes I have to look and I'm going, what? Like what is this all this white from? Is that clearly some trauma perhaps could not it's not depositing the pigmentation in that region. So anyways, or maybe actually I shouldn't, maybe it was because it was wrapped down. I don't know the history. If it was dressed down, you definitely could get you could lose that hard outer pigmented capsule, and then you get down to more of the waterline type thing. So perhaps that's what that is from, right? And then at this point, it's removed because we don't do that because that part of the capsule is important. But again, we're really watching for relaxation of like to stop this jamming in here, this bending in here. We want to see this coronary band be back here, and the tubules then grow from that region. Yes, and then you can see how they'd be parallel. This one parallel. That one's still got to come back a little bit to that one. That's the way they should look. Okay, looking at the sole, I wanted to include this picture for seeing how his bars are starting to stand up and not, that's really what we've done is we've taken the pressure off the bars that are laid over, and therefore he can, his bars will um, relax and can return or somewhat return to their correct position. We do have to grow new bars, but when you take off some of the pressure, you actually can see changes fairly quickly. So this is in 2 months, and you can see the lines. This is where probably his bar should be. We have to wait for that further on into the trim, but you can see how, first of all, they're still laid over, but they're not as laid over as they were back in August. So they're more getting into the correct position. The bars were left long, they were laid over. So um, that's just going to take some time. So it does have to grow new bars, but when you take pressure off capsules, they can actually um, change shape or position in a short amount of time. So the frog is getting much healthier. I was drawing here for the owner to say, that's probably where the internal foot is and where you would find your coffin bone. But we know the coffin bone is only going to end of the bar is about there, right? And so you see the majority of this foot is soft tissue. And that's why it's able to fold like it does. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to show you was this is the another sole view, but with an angle. I angle a little bit, and this was before his trim, and you can just see, well, kind of that square toe idea, which I still see all the time. And we know anatomically that's not correct. Big bars before the trim, but I want you to follow. This is where when the folding, this is where all these collateral cartilages, frog, periopal, coronary band, everything gets pulled down and under the foot. Now, I hope you don't see very much of a difference because really there's not. That's not going to get fixed right away. You need to release all that pressure of the capsule. You need to keep, the frog trimmed. I need to keep the foot as healthy as possible. And then internally, those collateral cartilages will start releasing. This coronary band, which the pink line I'm kind of showing that, should be back here, right? Now you may say that's not very much, but man, there's a lot of soft tissue being pulled underneath the foot that was probably causing this horse some pain. So that's it. That's an update for Colby. I will likely post these pictures on my Facebook page, but I'm not going to include a lot of writing on them because I got the video here. Okay, happy trimming.